So it happened that a young married couple who both held full-time jobs faced a new challenge with the arrival of their first child. At the time, it seemed the best choice to keep their jobs, so the question of childcare arose. Fortunately, they found a family with 4 children and a stay-at-home mom who was willing to add one more child during the day. And so it was decided that the wife would take the child to the sitter on her way to work. Couldn't be easier. That is, until the first day. When the husband arrived home that evening, he discovered that his wife had been crying all day. It began when she left the baby at the sitter's. Today is the 6th Sunday of Easter. The readings today invite us to consider the peace that Jesus offers us and what that peace really means. In Acts, we hear about the first major crisis in the young church. There was a disagreement. One group believed, in order to be a true disciple of Jesus, one was obliged to follow the Mosaic law. Another group preached that since salvation was open to the Gentiles, those laws were no longer in effect. The groups caused confusion, a great deal of disagreement in the communities, and this unrest threatened the peace of the new Christian church. A remedy was needed. They appealed to Jerusalem, where the living apostles and the other disciples who knew Jesus lived. And they, as a council, decided on a compromise that did away with some practices but kept others. The controversy was settled. Their peace returned, and the new church continued to grow. Now, the couple talked about what happened. It seems that when the wife was faced with leaving her child in a new setting, trusting the child's welfare to someone else, something inside her snapped. She felt as if she was leaving or losing her baby. Now, the husband, being a sophomoric, wise father, assured her that this was just a case of a chemical imbalance. To prove it, he volunteered to take the child the next day himself. And the second reading from Revelations offers us a picture of a new heaven and a new earth. The gates are guarded by God's own messengers, and its foundations are set on the 12 tribes of Israel. The new Jerusalem is a place of perfection. There is no need of a temple because God himself resides in the center of the city, providing the light. It is a place of peace. The next day, the husband traveled to the sitters. He soon discovered that he also suffered from his wife's chemical imbalance. It was his turn to feel something snap. He found that he was overcome, and he could not keep the tears from flowing. In the gospel today, Jesus is speaking to the disciples at the Last Supper. He's making the effort to explain to them what is going to occur so that they will not be distressed. And yet, the disciples are not capable of understanding the information that Jesus is offering. They remain in grief, fearing the loss of Jesus. And Jesus tells them they will not be alone. The Holy Spirit will come to teach them, lead them, and to stay with them. and Jesus tells them that they will receive peace. Over time, the wife and the husband grew as parents. They came to understand that even though they left their child, the child was safe in the care of the babysitter. They also knew that she would return the child at the end of the day. They came to peace with the arrangement, knowing that all was well and as it should be. The readings today draw us to a meditation of what the peace that Jesus speaks of really means. The disciples initially could not conceive of this peace. After Jesus suffered and rose, appearing to the disciples in his glorified body, it began to dawn on them that this peace was something different. They thought of peace in terms of a lack of strife, of wars, of injustice. They thought in terms of this life. Yet, the first reading shows us that even in the early church, there was strife, suffering, and uncertainty that disrupted their peace. Then, in the second reading, we are taken to that place of peace. It's a place beyond our own earthly existence, and yet somehow it is connected. New parents who leave their child because of a necessity offer us an example of Jesus' peace in action. During the time the parents work, the child is somewhere else, causing distress and sense of loss. Their peace is disturbed. Then, at the end of the workday, the mother or the father picks up the child. The family is reunited. The peace of the family is restored. Later, as the husband and the wife come to understand that there's no reason to fear or to grieve when they cannot see or touch their child, knowing they'll be reunited as a single whole family, they then remain at peace. In that very human experience, we find the key to what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples. The peace that Jesus offers is not peace as the world sees peace. It is a peace that transcends our mortal lives. Just as in the family, Jesus sets us out on our earthly journey, watches our trials, our successes, our loves and our losses, and then gathers us in at the end of the day. And because we have faith in Jesus' promise, we also should be at peace. Jesus' peace is with us in this life and in the next. It is unbroken by the challenge that life brings. It is constant, as Jesus is constant. It is the gift of Jesus, now and in the New Jerusalem.